Hey guys, LevelCap here, and today in gaming, the PlayStation 5 launched, EA are facing even more legal troubles thanks to loot boxes, India is getting its own version of PUBG Mobile, and much more. The PlayStation 5 is now available and it's making some good first impressions. Demon's Souls Remastered and Spider-Man Miles Morales are the highlight launch titles, and they both look genuinely next-gen. In general, it's too early to have a definitive opinion on the new hardware, but it's clear that there's no significant disparity between the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series consoles. Sony and Microsoft have really more or less matched each other's performance this time around. While I'm sure we'll discover minor differences over time, I wouldn't expect them to be too extreme. The one differentiating factor between the new consoles will be how their budget options stack up. Microsoft opted to release the Xbox Series S as a cheaper and lower spec console. Sony kept the hardware the same but removed the disk drive. Buying a PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 5 Digital Edition gets you an identical experience, in other words. Overall, I think the big takeaway from the next-gen console launches is that console gamers are finally getting the PC-like gaming experience that they've been missing out on. High resolutions and frame rates with games that don't have to be designed with massive compromises in mind. That's been something that the PC market often takes for granted. Now, as for getting your hands on that new hardware, unless you pre-ordered well in advance of launch, chances are you'll be waiting a few weeks to get an order in. Both editions of both consoles are sold out at all major retailers. EA are facing yet another lawsuit over FIFA's loot boxes. The new suit claims EA uses dynamic difficulty to pressure players into shelling out more money for loot boxes in Ultimate Team mode. The plaintiffs say the game dynamically adjusts difficulty in specific ways that makes players feel the need to buy card packs to overcome difficult opponents. And while this evidence is certainly subjective, it's true that EA has at least experimented with dynamic difficulty and skill-based matchmaking systems in the past. A paper published by EA a few years ago shows that player retention could be improved by ensuring players win and lose in particular patterns. It's unclear how much of that paper's findings have been implemented in their game design, but EA certainly has the technology to do this kind of thing. In an interesting move, EA are adding a FIFA playtime system to FIFA 21 that lets players control their in-game spending. You'll be able to see how much time you've been sinking into the game and limit how many FIFA points you can purchase. You can also limit how many Ultimate Team packs you can open. The feature is going live today on PC for consoles on the 17th. PUBG Mobile was recently banned in India in a massive wave of bans directed at Chinese mobile apps and services. The developers have responded by announcing an India-only version of PUBG Mobile. Their parent company, Krafton, invested $100 million into their India-focused businesses ranging from games and esports to entertainment and tech markets. Details about the India-only version of PUBG are pretty scarce. Still, given the game's popularity in India, I wouldn't expect it to take too long to get the region-specific version out. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War is launching tomorrow, and it's getting a massive Day 1 patch. It's adding a bunch of additional modes that weren't present in the beta, tunes the gameplay and overall balance of Fireteam Dirty Bomb, adds several new weapons, makes weapon balance changes to a ton of guns, makes some tweaks to sliding, and more. If you have an issue with the beta's balance or content, it'll probably be quite different on launch. That said, don't expect Treyarch to have moved heaven and earth. Cold War will support 120 FPS output on the next-gen consoles, which is a big first for the franchise. Call of Duty has always targeted 60 FPS performance on consoles. Getting higher FPS support could be pretty massive for the competitive COD player out there. As for Warzone, that will be integrated with Cold War next month, around when Season 1 launches. The creative director of Star Wars Battlefront 2, Dennis Bronval, is leaving DICE after working there for 8 years. He was brought back onto the Battlefront team for the first game as a senior level designer. He was bumped up to creative director last year and oversaw the game's redemption arc following its rough launch. I personally have met Dennis several times. I think he's a great developer and I wish him luck in all his future endeavors. The developer commentary update for Half-Life Alyx just launched, and it adds audio logs scattered throughout the game that amass to about 3 hours of content. The commentary mode had its own option when selecting a new playthrough, and essentially takes you on a guided tour of the game's development. Jeff Keighley's Half-Life Alyx: The Final Hours was a visual guide through the game's long dev cycle, but that was more of an outsider looking in. With the commentary update, players get a first-hand look inside the heads of the people who made the game, all while getting to explore it in VR. According to Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is roughly twice as popular as the last game in the franchise. They saw double the active players on launch compared to Odyssey, and while it's likely due to the next-gen console push, it might also be thanks to both a ton of positive hype surrounding the game and Cyberpunk 2077's delay. Ubisoft had pretty stiff competition from Cyberpunk going into November. Thanks to that delay, gamers are probably a little more hungry for other next-gen titles, and both Watch Dogs Legion and Valhalla have gotten solid reviews as both entries in their respective franchises and as showcases of what the new consoles are capable of. Twitch apologized for their handling of DMCA claims in recent weeks that has cost many streamers their entire back catalog of content. In June, Twitch received nearly 2,000 DMCA claims. In response, they sat on the claims until September, when they opted to delete all of the offending clips and notify affected streamers via email of the deletion. The move was seen as a massive violation of their users' rights, as no one got a chance to appeal the DMCA claim before the content was removed. The blog post acknowledges the lack of tools for creators to mitigate claims and promises to do better. Unfortunately, they're already digging themselves a new hole with a tweet telling streamers to literally mute all game audio if they're worried about claims. While the issue is more nuanced than anyone will give Twitch credit for, the response to this tweet and most of Twitch's explanations have been very negative. Minecraft Dungeons is getting crossplay support on the 17th. The game takes the action RPG gameplay of Diablo and mashes it together with the world of Minecraft. While that might sound gimmicky at first glance, reviews of the games have been very positive, with many praising it as the perfect introductory title to the genre. It's currently available on PC, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4. The new consoles also support it via backward compatibility. Its next big content update launches in December and adds a new difficulty option, a new area, and 3 new story missions to go with it. In our final story today, the upcoming sci-fi FPS Deathloop had its release date leaked on the PlayStation 5 store and has since been officially confirmed as May 21st, 2021 by the developers. It'll be Arkane's first game since 2016's Dishonored 2, which was universally praised. Deathloop looks equally interesting. When it comes to sci-fi FPS games with unique abilities and weaponry, Arkane are one of the best developers around. Hopefully Deathloop lives up to the hype. And that wraps it up for Today in Gaming. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought was the most interesting story. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more news content down the road, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.